you're at that point, you're already feeling like, oh my God, I'm getting old. I'm gonna be 40 soon. And
Yep.
so sometimes it's scary to take risks at that age, depending on if you have a family or, whatever you.
Welcome to Clicks and Bricks Podcast. We talk about the entrepreneur mindset, everything from that Main Street brick and mortar to that billion-dollar manufacturer. Be sure to head over to clicksandbricksacademy.com so you can access all the resources to start improving your sales today.
Welcome back, everybody, to today's episode of Clicks and Bricks. My name is Ken, and today we have Jason with us. He's the creator of this really cool new platform called, not even a new platform, it's pretty old now, PlyoJam Dance. But before we bring Jason on, if you'd like to join my text line community, 314-370-2871. I'll never try to sell you anything on that text line. I'll just send you business tips, tricks, some marketing tips and tricks, and some NFT or crypto news here and there. How are you doing today, Jason?
I am fabulous.
Thank you for joining us. Super excited to have you on. Can you tell the audience a little bit about yourself and what PlyoJam does?
All right. Well, so basically PlyoJam is a dance fitness concept that it's basically your basic follow along dance concept, sort of like Zumba, but it incorporates like plyometric jump training. It was something that I created, now like 9 or 8 years ago is when it started. And, I basically saw that there was a need. I said, oh my God, there's this need. I'm good at dancing. I could probably do something with this. I was not someone that was even thinking about starting a business. I just was like, yeah, I'm going to teach a dance class because I'm good at this. And I had a little bit of, I was a personal trainer. I worked in group fitness. So I knew a lot about fitness. So I decided to take this concept called PlyoJam, and I basically made it this like global phenomenon.
Fantastic. So, PlyoJam, plyometrics is the word that you use. Is that something that you coined, or has that been, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah, so plyometrics is something that was really trendy about 7 to 8 years ago. And I remember talking to some of my personal trainer friends, and I was like, look, I'm trying to figure something out. I want to do something that's kind of like really in. And at the time, Insanity was really popular. P90X was really popular, and they would incorporate a lot of plyometrics. What that is, it's short, fast, explosive movements, also known as jump training. We don't necessarily like to say jump training in class because most of the women that take my dance class don't want to think that they have to jump around. So we basically talk about it as short, fast, explosive movements. Yeah.
So is HIIT training the progression of HIIT or the plyometrics?
Yeah, no, you're right. It's basically, it started off as plyometrics, and then it rolled into like what HIIT training is today.
Right. If you don't know what HIIT training is, it's high intensity interval training. So
absolutely.
it's really explosive and then rest, and really explosive and rest. And that's why I like boxing so much, is because it's built in, right? High intensity interval is absolutely built in. You work really hard for 3 minutes, then you take a break for a minute. I'm old enough, though. I only have to work hard for a minute and a half now because they've got me in the old man age group. So
exactly.
That works really well for me.
I love that. Our basically, we work for about 2.5 to 3 minutes, and then we take breaks. So
because that's about the length of a song, right? And you dance to music, which is a lot of fun. So to me, dancing, I'm not a dancer. I mean, if I have a couple cocktails, you might find me on a dance floor. But outside of that, I'm not really big into dancing. But I do like yoga. But this seems like a more fun way to do yoga. Or some of the benefits that you get from yoga, I could see you getting from dancing too, like that, the maneuverability and things like that. Is that?
Yeah, mobility is definitely a thing, and balance is a really important thing, especially when dancing. And anytime you're taking 2 feet off the ground or jumping from side to side, like with lateral movements. Yeah, you really, yoga is important because it helps strengthen your core. So all of that stuff is really important.
Right.
I love that you box though. That's great. I always tell this story. When I first started, I wanted to teach boxing, kickboxing. And I was like, this is good. I could totally do this.
Yeah, it's so much fun. Boxing saved my life for sure. So, and I love talking about fitness and those kinds of things. And I'm super excited that you're helping the world become a more fit place. And in today's sedentary world and with the future technologies bring us, we need more platforms to engage more people, specifically business people, because they need some fitness in their life as well. And it's something to easily forget. So I love that. But we're here today to talk about the business. What possessed you or motivated you to really take that leap? What was the founding story? When was the time that you're sitting there at 3 a.m. and like, I'm going to go for it. I'm going to do this. Can you tell us a little bit about that journey?
Yeah, actually, it's interesting because that journey has continued to today. I lost a cousin at really young, at 28 years old. He had a heart attack. And then I lost another close friend right after that due to heart disease in their 20s. And I'm now 45 years old. So you can imagine I was like 35 years old at the time going, what? These people are in their 20s. Like what's happening? Their cousins, their family members. And so it really made me look at heart health. Right from the start. It wasn't really about like trying to lose weight or become all buff and stuff. I was really, motivated to find something that I enjoyed that would improve my heart health. And everyone has a reason they work out. It could be diabetes. It could be, mental health. It could be anything. But for me, it was really heart health. And my cousin who, is now gone for 10 years. And like I said earlier, that continues to today. I about a year and a half ago, my other cousin, the brother of the one that passed away, had a heart attack, and he's only 36. And again, it came right back. I was like, oh my God, I know why I'm doing this. It's so important. So for me, I was now then diagnosed with coronary heart disease. We were just talking about it. And it really makes me think about like what initially made me want to start teaching dance. And it was heart health, and it's still heart health. And, it could, for me, and I talk to people all the time when I'm coaching them, we all have a reason, and it's important to understand what that reason is and like roll with it, and put your best foot forward somehow.
Absolutely. And you have to be fascinated or addicted or something to your why, right? It has to be a very important why to you. It doesn't have to be important to anybody else, but it has to be really, really important to you. Otherwise, those hard days, and if you're running a business, I promise you, there will be hard days. Doesn't matter how positive you are. All these, super celebrities and everything you see walking around with big smiles on their face, like it doesn't seem like anything's bothering them. I promise you, they have a ton of adversity sitting on their laps at almost all times, right? So you're going to have challenges. You're going to have stress in your business. I highly recommend to every business owner, they have to have a fitness routine. They have to have a reasonable diet. Right. And I've not always lived by these rules, but I definitely try every single day. They have to have an outlet, or you're going to destroy your business because you won't be around to manage it. Right. You're just going to throw the whole thing away.
Absolutely. And now more than ever, going through a pandemic and having friends that have been just sedentary all day, just sitting there doing nothing. And you're just like, you have to find a reason to get out, whether it's walking your dog or walking to the coffee shop or doing something. Right. And it's been so hard for so many of my colleagues and friends that, have businesses and stuff. Cause we're all trapped.
If you have a business today and you're not obsessed with your why and your who, those hard days they're going to be too much for you and you'll give up. Right. Or is that what happens a lot of times? It's the passion for the product or the service that kills the business more than anything else has been my experience. If you really love it, you will find a way. You'll find a way to make it happen.
Yeah, I mean, I happen to be lucky because I'm actually doing my passion. Not everyone's as lucky as me. Some people are in businesses and they're doing things, or they're in sales, or even my own brother, like he has his own business and he's not passionate about it. He just doesn't love it.
Yes.
So I think he like wishes he was me. He's like, oh, you're so lucky. You love your business. And I'm like, yeah, I love what I do, but not everyone is able to incorporate what they do.
But I don't always have medical insurance. So fantastic. So obviously in business, we have a lot of adversity, overcoming hurdles. Challenges are always put in front of us and we have to figure out how to overcome them. At times adversity, and you've been doing this for a while now, and you didn't have like business school or any of those things. So you've been learning on the fly with mentorship and all these other things. Can you tell us how you overcome your adversity and really keep pushing your business in those really challenging times?
Yeah, you definitely have to continue to learn, and it's all hands on. I myself, I'm lucky because 2 years into this, I knew my limitations. I knew if I wanted to get to the next level and to the goals that I had set out, I was going to have to bring on a business partner. When you're a small business, your team is small. And you end up doing everything. You become a marketer, you become product development, you become a management team, you're managing all types of things. And the business that I run has so many different facets, and you're thinking ahead. How do you think ahead to Black Friday when you're trying to get through October? It's just, there's so many different things to think about. And so for me, it was important to recognize that I don't need, this business doesn't have to just be about me. It needs to be bigger than me. And I need to bring on a business partner that's going to help me excel that to the next level.
So when you brought the partner on, right, you come to the realization oh crap, this is bigger than me. I'm not going to pull it off the way I want to pull it off by myself, right? I got to pull in people. Can you tell us a little about how did you find that partner, and how did you vet them to make sure? And when you're coming into a partnership, there's always a risk. Was there ways that you mitigated your risk of bringing this partner in to make sure that he kept his end of the deal?
Okay, so it's a girl. Her name is Stacy.
Okay,
and it's interesting because she started off as, I met her at a party. I was at a party with my husband, and we were just kind of I don't know, talking to people. And this girl came up to me and she said she was, dealing with weight issues. And she had gone to the doctors, and she was like, well, I'm trying to get in control of my health,
right.
Which a lot of people will come to me and talk to me about that and stuff, especially some of my students. And so we just became friends, and eventually she was like, I'm going to come to your class. And so she came to my class, and she ended up doing 40 classes in 2 months or something crazy like that, 2.5 months. And she was a really good dancer. And there was so much passion behind her. And she was offering, so much help. And she goes, I can help you with this. And she could see where I was I needed some help in certain areas. And she's not even someone that came from the corporate world. She was a teacher. She taught 6th grade. She does have a degree in communications as well, but she just saw this guy that had all this passion, and she could just, she felt this connection, and I could sense that. We became really good friends, and then that relationship sort of just kind of slowly grew over about a year and a half. And then I just said, look, let's just be partners. Let's do this together. And by that point, I had already released the DVD. I was, I already had the instructor certification program already set and put together. I had a lot of everything was pieced together, but it wasn't done to the degree of I just wanted it was missing the polished. It just was missing something, and I needed help. So she basically filled that void. Yeah.
Fantastic. So was there a vesting schedule for her?
Of course there was. And that was something that my husband, who works in finance and stuff, helped me in terms of putting together the business plan and the vesting and all of that stuff. Yeah. So I was like, what is this? What does this even mean?
Right. So the risk of bringing on a partner, and it's wildly risky, and I've been bitten multiple times in my life by I'm an overly trusting guy, right? Somebody says, hey, I'll do this. I take them at their word, and then they don't do it. And it's a problem in business. It's why a lot of these businesses they never get off the ground with 3 and 5 partners. It is important to have some kind of vesting schedule whenever you're bringing on a partner. They have to earn those shares over a period of time, and they have to have things that they have to execute on each year to get their shares, right? It's very common for a partnership to start, and one guy's really passionate, and one guy has some finance or legal, but he's not really passionate about it. And he just doesn't do the part that he said he was going to do to earn his shares. But once you create the partnership, you can't take those shares away. right? Once you give them the shares, they're their shares. They own part of your company. They never have to do another thing for the rest of their lives, and they own part of your company. So it's wildly important to have a vesting schedule.
That's the most important thing, I would have never known this,
right?
If it was for people in my circle that would say, no, this is important. Like this, it should be over like a year or two, and slowly that
I do 4 or 5 year vestings, right? So they get,
I think ours was 3.
Yeah, so they either get 20% a year for 5 years, or they get 25% a year for 4 years, and they have to have vesting. They have to meet certain criteria. And I have 3 people right now that are in that boat earning equity into our companies. And it's a great way to incentivize employees, right? Giving them a percentage of the business invested over a few years. You can do a lot of things with the equity in your company. Don't give up too much. It's your company, right? But without those players, you don't really have a company anyway. So it doesn't matter.
You don't. I struggled. Let me tell you, I remember when I first started this, I had this guy, I forget his name, and we'll leave names out of it, but he was someone that was really big into investing in companies. And I believe he was one of like so many people that were big in investing in Zumba, and he was just basically telling me all this stuff. He's like, you're going to bring investors in. You're probably going to end up with like 10% of your company, and you have to be willing to do this. And I was just like, whoa, this is like so much information coming at me. This was right from the start, because I went right to the top. I wanted to talk to people from Beachbody. I wanted to know exactly how to get that big. Like, how do I get from this little like class to like a Beachbody, format.
And it's at the end of the day, it's the trick, and it's unfortunate. It's just buying the eyeballs, right? Having a good product and paying for the people to see it, right? That's the unfortunate truth, right? And it's risky to buy that, because if you can do the wrong ad, you can spend a lot of money and not get the return, right? So your advertising dollars have to be spent properly.
I can honestly say we got lucky. We don't do much advertising, because most of our publicity comes through from like celebrity involvements or publications and things like that. Being, right in the heart of like Los Angeles, you never know who's going to walk through the door. And so many times, like we get these awesome opportunities that just sort of like blast our brand, and people are like, wow, like, and we never even paid for it.
Right.
And, I know that I have friends that have like hired publicists and all types of people to help like, ramp up their advertising. And you can spend a lot of money. And
absolutely. And so what you're talking about is PR or earned media, right? Somebody comes in and they blast it out and they do it. That's public relations, and it's fantastic. My tip on that is, not everybody has the benefit of having their business in Los Angeles. So, but in every single city, in every state in this country, you have radio DJs, you have local influencers, you have those things, you have your mayors, you've got your city council. My advice, if you're a brick and mortar business in any community, is send invites to your local DJs for a complimentary service or whatever it is. Send your mayor of your town complimentary coupons for your stuff and get them in. They talk about it. They're influencers in your area, right? For local business, local influencers work. It is absolutely a great tactic to use to help your business grow. Talk to those local celebrities, right? Get them into your door. They're in your town. I'm in St. Louis. There's very few celebrities in St. Louis, but you better believe that we're emailing them on a fairly regular basis, right? Trying to get them to come in and do things. So it's a great tactic. If you're in LA, they just happen, right? Well, I'm assuming if you're in LA and you're in dance, it's going to happen, right? It's not every industry that people are going to walk into that are celebrities, but celebrity endorsements help a tremendous amount, especially if they're not paid for.
Absolutely. And for me, it was just not even about them. Like they were just, if a celebrity just talks about you without even telling you to talk about like your brand, it's amazing. And like, you're just like, oh my God, I can't believe this person was just on this show and they just mentioned me. And oh my God, can you believe that? And, right before the pandemic, we had a huge opportunity when James Corden decided to take his carpool karaoke to my class.
Oh, wow.
And so that's a huge deal. Like,
right.
Oh my God, carpool karaoke is coming to my class with the biggest band in the world called BTS. At the time, I was like, who's BTS? But now I knew who they are. But yeah, like you just these opportunities. And now I actually relocated to Philadelphia. And so like I'm not even in Los Angeles now. Now we're bi-coastal. I go back
right.
like every 6 to 7 weeks. So now I'm doing what you had said. Every city has their influencers. They have people that are sort of like there. You just have to seek them out. I was just teaching a class a couple days ago, and this lady comes up to me and she goes, "Oh, I happen to be the mayor." I'm like, "What?
Yeah.
You're the mayor?" I said, you connect with people.
Absolutely. And even the mayor, like you don't think of the mayor as being an influencer for social media, but you'd be surprised at how many people are following them and know where they're at, right? Because they're checking in and they're doing those things.
If you're brick and mortar in a city and the mayor knows about you, they could.
Yes.
No. Yeah,
and the mayor needs to know about you anyway, because you pulled permits and everything if you did everything legally. He knows about you, but he or she might not have been in your door yet. So fantastic.
Exactly.
Now, the mindset of overcoming adversity and coming through struggles and jumping through hurdles is a completely different mindset than thriving. And I see so many business owners, they get to this point of comfortable, right? And I say comfortable is the enemy of growth. And I don't like it. I say, you need to be uncomfortable. You need to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. That's where you want to live, right? If you really want to grow and be excellent at whatever you're doing, you're going to have to keep putting yourself in uncomfortable positions to keep growing. How do you move from okay, I'm comfortable? How do you really say, this isn't good enough for me? I know I can do better. I know I can push harder. I know I can push more. How do you find that energy and drive to push through that time when you could really just, take the night off and jump on the couch and watch, binge a couple Netflix shows?
Well, I will tell you, when you have a business partner, you guys are I'm constantly connecting with her and she's connecting with me, and we keep each other on our toes. Right. We definitely hey, did you hear about this? Or, hey, did you read about this? Or, hey, what are you doing about this? So that part helps because it does keep you motivated. But it also, for what we do, is always trying to reinvent what it is we're doing and create something different and special that our members can sort of get excited about, because we want to retain our members and we want to keep our members. And we've been lucky. We've grown organically. So We're always looking for new ways to connect with our members. And just every year, I feel like we do something different. And this year we started a wellness program. We never did a wellness program before, but this year, you know what? Let's do a wellness program. And we just created it from the ground up. And it was just something that we could add to our membership. And, just to retain people, to keep them interested, to get them excited, to build that loyal following. And, your loyal customers is basically, they're the people that are going to talk about you. And that's what we knew we had to do to keep that membership growing.
And is that wellness? So I'm always fascinated by the word wellness. And in your program, do you have a physical wellness and a mental wellness aspect to that? Because to me, they're absolutely coupled together. If my mindset isn't right, my body's not going to be right. And if my body's not right, I can't really get to the right mindset. So are you attacking both avenues there?
We do, yeah. So what we do is we have different themes. And so one theme was stress. So the whole month we talked about stress and how, what are your triggers and how that can affect your wellness. Mindfulness, we talked about positive affirmations and things like that. And that would be that topic that month. Being fierce, and what does it mean to be fierce, and how can you be your best self if you're not well? What does that mean? And so, heart health might be another month. So, people, it's interesting that the amount of things people don't know, the smallest little things, you're oh man, you think people know it, but they don't. So it's been really nice just to educate people on all these little aspects of wellness.
Absolutely.
Doses,
I teach boxing, and I have a class that I teach online marketing and stuff like that. And I run into the problem all the time that I think this stuff is common knowledge, and it's just not. Right. And then my team's like, no, it's not common knowledge, Ken. You've just been studying this for 20 something years. So it's
Ken,
a little disconnect for me.
You're absolutely right. It's so in your mind, you think, no, how do people not know this? And that's why I tell people, I'm like, you could be an expert in anything. You probably know 95% more than other people in that. You just have to just trust yourself.
Absolutely. So before we jump into the last question, do you have any offers that you would like to give our audience?
Yeah, I actually do. I think if you use code BRICS, you can, we have a monthly membership that I am offering the first 30 days for free. It's $18.99 a month. And with that membership, you get over 250 on-demand classes, which are either beginner, intermediate, or advanced classes. You also get 6 days a week of live classes where you can actually interact with an instructor. It's really an awesome, if you're looking just to get some movement in, get some peace of mind, a little bit of heart health, it's worth it. But yeah, 30 days for free.
Fantastic. So 30 days and I'll get all these different on-demand classes, but then every day I have a live class. Is that live class at the same time every day?
Yeah. Yeah. There's a set schedule and then the replays will stay up for a week. And again, this is something that we implemented last year. Was just like, this is what we're going to do. And, people love to connect with people. They love that camaraderie, especially women who love to go to fitness classes. I think women like camaraderie more than men. I don't know. What do you think, Ken?
I find it, I have a boxing gym, and in my boxing gym, I have really three different kinds of classes. I've got fitness classes, and I've got competitive classes. My competitive class, I have a youth and adult, but my fitness class is very social, and it's 80% female.
Yeah,
hands down, right? Absolutely. My competition classes are way heavy on the men, but my fitness classes are mostly women. So
yeah.
And also, like, even on the business side, not even the fitness side, the BNIs and the marketing groups generally are female dominant as well, right? I think after 30 years old, women they really blossom and they become more, driven in those kinds of worlds, right? They're more comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah,
at least that's my, I don't have a wide view of the planet that we live on. It confuses me on a regular basis, but that's my current viewpoint, or the way that I see it right now, at least.
No, it makes sense. And and I always tell people, I don't know, like the women, they move their bodies better than men. And they're like, what about you? I'm like, I don't know. I'm just good. I just have good rhythm.
Yeah.
But they just have more movement control or something, whereas when I invite some of my buddies out, I'm like, what are you doing?
Right. Well, I think for me, I deal in combat sports. So a man at 30 thinks that in his mind, he should know these things already, even if he doesn't, and he's kind of embarrassed. And a woman doesn't have any expectations on that particular thing. So she can overcome that. Hey, I'm supposed to know this already. She's in a learning mindset, where a man is kind of in a macho mindset that doesn't play as well for learning at an older age.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. Oh.
So that's the way I see it right now. Now, obviously, that's generalization. That's not, every man and every woman. There's variance across the board. But, we focus on inclusion, and we focus on boxing for mindset and fitness first. And we use the skills to help us do that is what my gym is all about. So I like it a whole lot. It is one of my happy places. In front of the camera and in my boxing ring are my two happy places on the planet. So I will keep doing those for the foreseeable future, at least. Going on to the last question of the day, right? We're going to bust out our crystal ball and we're going to look into the future of technology, because technology is changing our world at breakneck speeds, and it's changing the way we do business. On top of that, it's allowing for more entrepreneurs and more businesses to get started today. With all the technology that we have, you can have a really, solid side hustle of Uber, Lyft, whatever those guys, and start your business right there at any age right now. How do you see the future of technology changing your industry or the world as a whole?
Well, it's interesting because over the past year and a half, I think that technology just has helped my business so much. It's grown so much over the past 2 years. We started this online platform about 4.5 years ago, and with companies like Zoom and all the different streaming platforms, I would have never thought that I could be somebody that was going to be teaching, in my living room or something like that, like and reaching as many people as I do with our concept real time. And it just keeps getting better and better, and the quality keeps getting better, the sound, and I'm just so excited to see how much better it gets, because there are companies like PlyoJam. We're not brick and mortar. We've talked about opening up different studios, and we haven't done it, but at this point I don't know if we have to, because more and more people are getting so comfortable with working out in their homes and being able to connect with their personal trainer or their boxing teacher or their dance teacher real time at home. And if you had asked me a year ago, I would have been like, yeah, right, that's never going to happen. But it's already happening. And
Right.
So I want technology to get even better.
Absolutely.
I don't know how much better it could get, but would you have expected this a year and a half ago or 2 years ago?
I've been expecting this for 20 something years. It's been going slow, right? So, I've been in the data center hosting business since 1999, right? So I bet the future of the internet a long, long time ago. You were fortunate enough, and probably a brilliant decision, to go online early 4 years ago. Probably seemed like you were brilliant when COVID hit and we went on lockdown. I'm sure you saw a spike in traffic at that point, right?
Well, we were one of the few companies that were set up already. And I was like, well, we already have 100, 200 work on demand classes. Like, here we go. It was like, it came in, it just poured in. And we were just like, oh my God.
Absolutely. So, and you were there when the time was right, and you were already there. And that's important. Yeah. Gretzky says, Wayne Gretzky, greatest hockey player of all time, says, don't go where the puck is, go where the puck's going to be. And obviously you couldn't foresee COVID happening, but the trend of going online has been everly increasing. And the pandemic, really accelerated the hell out of online adoption for almost everything, right? And now we have VR coming right around the corner with the metaverse from Facebook, all those things. You're going to have to reproduce everything in VR, right? It's right around the corner. I think it's 2 to 5 years away, if not sooner. Fantastic. So I do have one last question for you. I want to put you on the spot. You were 35 when you started PlyoJam, is that correct?
I was.
So if there was a 35-year-old person today doing a job and they wanted to start a business, what would one piece of advice be that you would give that person that to take the journey and to move forward?
Well, I would say, at 35, in your mid 30s, you're at that point, you're already feeling like, oh my God, I'm getting old. I'm going to be 40 soon. Yep. And so sometimes it's scary to take risks at that age, depending on if you have a family or, whatever you, wherever you're at. But I would say, if you're going to dive into anything, make sure that there's some passion behind it. Make sure it's something that you could sort of see yourself doing for a certain amount of time. Like for me, I was nervous. I was like, oh God, 35 years old. I mean, if you physically watched what I do, you would be like, there's no way this guy is going to be 46 years old. How is he doing that? And so I was nervous thinking, how am I going to continue doing this? But you got to trust yourself. Our bodies are resilient. You would be surprised what we can do. And when we put our minds to something, I would have never thought I would be, coaching people in different parts of the world and being a personal trainer for this person or teaching dance for James Gordon. I would have never thought any of this stuff. So, dream big, right?
Absolutely. And your age, it is important, right? It's a consideration factor, but George Foreman became the world champion at the age of 45, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Your age don't let that stop you from running. I know right now there's a lot of, 20 to 25-year-olds starting their businesses for the first time. But if you're in your 30s and you're really thinking about it, I can tell you all growing up, my mom and stepdad talked about all the time about starting a business. They always talked about it because they worked at restaurants and bars and all this crap, miserable lives. And 2 years before my stepdad died is when he finally did it. And I think it was his 2 happiest years of his life. And unfortunately, he lived a miserable life in the factories. And then his last 2 years, he decided to move out. Maybe that's why I'm crazy enough to keep just doing this, because I got to see that at a young age. But it's important, right? And don't let the age stop you. Keep moving forward.
For me, both my parents have their own business. My dad's an electrician. He's, I saw him, have his own business growing up. My mom has her own salon. So I think I was around people that, weren't working that 9 to 5, like boom, 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 like you have to go to work. They were building something. And like I said, my brother has his own business. So I think, yeah, you have to have that mindset, Not everybody does.
Yeah. People from around the world migrate to America to start their own businesses, right?
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
So that's what this is. That is the American dream. There's one American dream. It's to own your own destiny and to be your own person in this crazy mixed up world that we live in. So, and we take it for granted, business owners, right? And sometimes they think it's even kind of cheesy for trying your passion, right? I get it all the time. I say it all the time, like, do what you love and you never work a day in your life. And I'm like, oh, it's easy for you to say, Ken, because blah, blah, blah. And you get this, do this cool podcast and you own your own gym and all that stuff. I'm like, but none of it was easy, right? But I did it and I love it. And I wouldn't change it for the world. So before we go today, Jason, do you have anything you'd like to leave the audience?
Well, you know what I want to say, and I should have said this in the beginning. I know that you come from the world of boxing and all that stuff. And I know that your listeners probably are like, oh, what is this dance? What is this? I want to make sure people realize that this is, a format that is for anyone, whether you're a dancer or a non-dancer. And, it's for people that just love movement and just, want to feel healthier. And I think if you're someone that's looking for just something that's going to get you moving on the daily, something that's going to lift your spirits up, that it's give it a try.
I would say, and I'm probably going a little overboard here, but dancing and boxing are very similar. They're very primal activities, right? There's a lot of songs that come on, and I'm not a dancer, but I can't not tap my foot, right? I got to get my body moving a little bit, and body movement it's key, right? You got to keep your body moving. It's get rid of the sedentary movement. I take a class right now. I take a marketing class, and the beginning of every single class, the teacher makes me dance. And I hate it. Absolutely hate it. Because it's so important to get your energy up before you're going to do this mundane crap that we're going to go and talk about numbers for the next hour and a half. Get your energy way up high and then do it. But yeah, he makes me dance every single class.
It's funny that you say that. I took an acting class in my early 20s. And every time we got up, the teacher made you do a song and dance in front of everyone. You're like, what? And it was about movement. It was about being present and moving your body and connecting it. It was crazy, but it's true.
It's absolutely true. And dance is for everybody, right? It's for 0 to 150 if there's anybody out there that old. So it just depends on how you dance, right? And your movement. So thank you, Jason, so much for joining us today. That's it for today's show, folks. Again, my name is Ken. If you'd like to join my text line community, it's 314-370-2871. I'll never try to sell you anything. I'll just send you business and technology tips and tricks. That's it for today. Get to work.